Jumping straight in, this is the Meonth army. Excuse the lack of paint. Up front we've got the Temple Flame Guard with the UA leader and banner trailing up the back. Next to the UA leader on the left we've got the Covenant of Meonth, also known as the Book. And to the right of the TFG we've got the Vanquisher Wardrop, Fire Belching Specialist, the Warcaster pKreoss, and a Vassal which cannot be seen hiding behind the Vanquisher. You can also see 3 of the choir members with their staffs and scrolls, and then we've got the Reckoner off to the left of the TFG line with 2 choir members for babysitting. Now the Scyrah army, unpainted black ones are the Mage Hunter Strike Force. Again, excuse the lack of painting. They're spread out before the main Scyrah lines using advanced deployment to avoid the AoEs, with the unit attachment back near Ravyn, who is hiding behind a wall, and Discordia with an Arcanist ready to move up with her imprint as the game goes on. Here's a close-up of Ravyn behind the wall. And you can see her stack of focus next to her, and Discordia with an Arcanist ready to move up. Ignore the mix of bits on Discordia, we have magnetized it, but I didn't bring the rest of Disco's parts. We've got Earis and the Mage Hunter Assassin in a forest to the right of the main Scyrah lines, and here we've got the Stormfalls on the hill to the left. Alright, let's begin. So welcome to pKreoss's first Warmachine video battle report, which coincides with a written battle report you can see linked below. This is the first game of Warm Hordes we've done in quite a while. Given sort of the unfeelings generated from 40k currently, I think it was time just to get back into it. So expect some more painted armies and battle reports in relation to Warm Hordes soon, and let us know your thoughts on this type of format, specifically displaying the armies initially and photos in between the ramblings in the movies going on. Remember as well, unlike 40k, this is sort of a learning process for us, as we're still getting to grips with the game, so bear with us, help us out, if and really when we get things wrong, and anything that we can do better. Alright, so we've got the Meonth player at the moment moving up his Temple Flame Guard. He's run them out to put them in a good position to either jam or charge me the next turn, as well as looking to control that 5-inch control zone in the middle. They've popped their mini feats, so their base arm 17 now, and pKreoss has put Defender's Ward on them as well, so that makes them 15 defense, 19 armor against shooting. Mage Hunters do ignore Defender's Ward because it's a spell, but that's a pretty solid stat line defensively, so more than likely some of them are going to be live the next turn, but we're looking at, from the Scyrah point of view, to try and remove that front line to limit the jamming possibilities they have. Vanquisher moved up on the left. It didn't run its full distance, and the Vassal didn't use Ancillary Attack to try and drop an extra fireball on the, an initial fireball on the Mage Hunters. It wouldn't have been in range, but hopefully would have scattered back, caught a few on fire. Here's some other pictures to give you an idea of what the army looks like advancing up. Choirs cast Passage, so the Retribution cannot shoot at the Jacks. The Covenant ran up, pKreoss cast Lamentation on himself as well. So very boring first turn as usual for Warmachine. So we've got the Scyrah moving now, Mage Hunter Assassin is moving around the building on the right there, Stormfall's up on the hill on the left, looking to hopefully use that elevation to drop a lot of AoEs on anybody standing in that objective, and if the Jacks get too close, dropping some brutal shots in. The objective in the middle is 5 inches. It's scored as a normal objective from the middle of turn 2. If you've got models in there and the opponent doesn't, you get a point, 3 points to win. I forget about this later in the game, which will come back to bite me, but we'll get to that in a bit. So Earis moved on the right just to the edge of the forest before the Mage Hunters moved. She's moved just really to the edge of where the Temple Flame Guard can get her with a run move, so the Mage Hunters move across to doubly protect her from any sort of charges. The Discordia moves up and whacks out her imprint to protect the Mage Hunters around. Mage Hunters get sniped and then start picking off some of the Temple Flame Guard. Ravyn's dropping a Veil of Mist there. I screwed up my activation completely, but luckily my opponent was very nice and let me go back and do my shooting, though it didn't really make any difference because the only one that was going to do anything were the Mage Hunters. The Stormfalls tried to shoot at the Vanquisher. Again, I was forgetting that passage was on, but they didn't do anything, so not an issue there. Iris also dropped the Temple Flame Guard. The Mage Hunters end up dropping 3 more, so that front line is reduced from 5 to 1. That last one will be removed in a second. There it is. And we're going on to the second turn for Meonth. Here you can see a photo from what the Mage Hunters have done. They haven't moved up a lot. Quite a few of them stayed still to make sure that those Temple Flame Guard could not get into charge range. They're certainly going to be able to jam with their run. They've got an effective 14-inch threat range for their jamming due to 6-inch movement and reach weapons, but that's quite different from their effective offensive threat range of 11 inches with the charge. So keeping them out of the charge range protects them from actually dying, but it's not going to stop them from being jammed up the next turn, and that's kind of important with the objective right there as well, which is why the Veil of Mist was put there to protect those couple Mage Hunters so they can run into the objective as they need. Unfortunately, we'll forget about that. So Meonth upkeeps Defender's Ward, upkeeps Lamentation. The Reckoner, having moved laterally last turn to avoid Iris, isn't as far up as it should be. Again, Vanquisher as well is quite a bit far back because it didn't do its full run. So it's moving up now, moves laterally to try and drop an AoE on the Stormfalls, but it's just out. Again, if it moved up, it probably would have been able to have that shot, but I probably would have either run it, moved it up a bit more, and tried to drop an AoE on as many of those Mage Hunters as possible. Imprint does make them immune to the blast damage, but it sets them on fire, and then they die next turn if the fire doesn't going out because it's a PAL 12, they're on 11. Here we see the Temple Flame Guard moving up. He did attempt to charge at the beginning, but I let him go with the run because only one model got him with the charge, while with the run he's getting 6 of those models engaged, and that means with a 2-inch reach that's engaging a lot more of the Mage Hunters and Iris rather than just the one dude that was going to get poked when the single model charged. The UA banner as well is poking their nose into the objective, and then the Reckoner comes up and moves in on that as well, attempts to take a shot at Discordia but doesn't do any damage, and the Choir moves up and casts Passage again. Covenant moves up and casts so I cannot think. Covenant casts Lawgiver's Creed, I think it is, so there's no spells cast in that, but Ravyn's quite far back to avoid being affected by that, same to avoid being affected by Kreoss's feat, and the Vassal moves up and puts in Ravyn again on the Reckoner. Again, here we've got a view from the tabletop of what the Temple Flame Guard are doing to the Mage Hunter Assassins, Mage Hunter Strike Force, sorry, and you can see the Mage Hunter Assassin off to the right there. Mage Hunter Assassin starts running around the building. 2 14-inch runs puts a lot of pressure on the enemy backline there. With stealth as well, it's not like the Reckoner can just turn around and put a shell into his face, but a choir member can obviously move up there and quite easily jam them. The choir members, most people forget, have reach as well, so that gives them a nice effective threat range just while walking. Mage Hunters moving around, they've upkept Snipe through Ravyn. The ones in combat are moving around within the melee range of the Temple Flame Guard to get as many without getting anyone new into combat, and to use them to gang up on the Temple Flame Guard that I want to remove from combat, and then the rest that are not in combat start sniping, drop the Vassal, do a damage to the Covenant, but unfortunately don't do anything else. 2 of the Temple Flame Guard also were dropped in combat. This also frees up Iris to move and shoot, and Discordia then goes and drops her spray. It does her imprint again. The spray kills the UA leader, but that's it. And I've forgotten now as well as the scenario. So one of those Mage Hunter Strike Force members really should have run into the scenario. Wouldn't have been not run, sorry, move. They've got a very high base move, so they would have been able to get into it. And if not that, then I should have sacrificed some of the Stormfalls to do that. they start lobbing attacks in, and I sillily decide to lob attacks into the melee, which as actually happened, I killed one of my own models with their lower arm. It was much more likely that the blast damage was going to hurt them than anyone else, and I'm able to drop one more of the Temple Flame Guard with Ravyn, who then Swift Hunters away, so they're down to 3 guys. The Stormfalls also drop the banner, so 3 guys, no UA at all. Iris moves around and drops one of the choir members to try and keep the Mage Hunter Assassin a bit safer from being tied up. And we're both haven't feated, both casters playing a bit back. Crosses a little bit forward, but because of the jam, I didn't really want to try and risk the snipe feat and go in terms of going all in and trying to drop pKreoss, particularly as well since the Stormfalls weren't able to draw appropriate line of sight on him. So end of this turn, we're going to get Meonth scoring a point, which shouldn't have happened. End of this turn as well for Meonth, they're going to score a point, so that puts them up 2-0 on scenario points, and he only needs 1 more to win, and we're only at the beginning of turn 3. So Lamentation is upkept, Defender's Ward is dropped because there's only 3 models left. It's not doing too much good there as well against the Arcane Assassin to the Mage Hunter Strike Force. Excuse me. But now lots of things are in range for the Jacks to start whacking things. So the Vanquisher drops a 4-inch AoE of fire, drops 1 Mage Hunter Strike Force model, does 2 damage to the commander, but sets him on fire, and also sets Ravyn on fire. So the commander is very likely going to die next turn unless the fire goes out. Cross then drops his feet, knocking down all the Mage Hunters except the Mage Hunter Strike Force except 1, 2 of the Stormfalls, and Discordia. Really feel pKreoss should have moved over a bit to the right to knock down Iris and the Mage Hunter Assassin, just to 100% confirm that he could get that scenario point the next turn, as they would have really needed to have sacrificed them. They could still have moved, but their move wasn't really going to be capable of getting them to that scenario. So with the Mage Hunter Strike Force knocked down, the 2 Temple Flame Guard, which were free to move up to try and assault Ravyn, they successfully get there, but they're only able to do 1 damage with their spears, so she's quite happy with that. Covenant moves up, casts no spells again, and very close to being in range of Ravyn there. The choir move up and drop themselves on the scenario, so they're now nicely in the way. Fire does not go out on anyone, kills the commander, doesn't do any damage to Ravyn. Here you can see the knockdown Mage Hunters with the Temple Flame Guard on Ravyn, and here's a closer look as well. We can now see that Reckoners come into play, didn't do any damage, but it's on that scenario as well, so it's very unlikely that I'm going to get a scenario point. I'm going to have to deny scenario points, as the Meonth player is now up 2-0, 1 more to win again. So we go first off with the Stormfalls, trying to drop AoEs all over the place. Snipe is upkept on the Mage Hunter Strike Force. We do get some choir members falling. There's 1 and there's 2 gone, so there's only 1 choir member left. Passage was again put on the Warjack so they can't be shot. I'd love to shoot them with some brutal shots at the moment and drop them down nicely. So all the Strike Force members stand up, forego their move so they can still do their action, clear out that 1 Temple Flame Guard, and put in some little point damage on the Covenant, and try to pinpoint some damage on the pKreoss, who takes a little bit. Covenant's left with 1. The spray does damage to the Covenant from Discordia, but not to the choir member. Ravyn then uses her Thresher attack to kill both the Temple Flame Guard in melee, quick work to get rid of the Covenant, and then use Swift Hunter to move behind the Arcanist again. So that was set up so Ravyn was able to do that. Covenant then had only 1 hit point left. Mage Hunter Assassin assaults the final choir member, kills him easily. Iris runs in, puts herself within 5 inches of both Warjacks, so they will not be getting any focus next turn. We only have, however, 2 models left in the scenario, but probably quite difficult to do given that pKreoss has his full being a focus, the Vanquisher has a Thresher attack, and we barrier play when this shouldn't have been available because that first scenario point at the end of Scyrah turn 2 should have been stopped by just moving one model in there. Right now, everybody is going along as though Wardrax could be allocated focus, but we quickly remember ERs stopped that, and then back to trying to club ERs the natural way rather than walking over them. So yeah, at the end of this, both of the Mage Hunter, Assassin, and ERs will be dead. And that will give the Meonth player this third scenario point. It's really, really important to remember what are the mission parameters, whatever game you're playing, what wins you the game. In Warmachine and Hordes, there's always the caster kill mechanic, but there are quite often other things involved which need to be considered, and in this instance I 100% forgot. Vanquisher moves up, lobs another 4-inch fire AoE, kills a Mage Hunter Strike Force, and Ravyn's still on fire, takes a bit of damage from Ravyn this turn, and then she feats, and everybody starts shooting at the pKreoss. Remembering I do not have the UA, so I cannot shoot through anyone this time, so we're just making sure the line of sight is there. Mage Hunter Strike Force doesn't do it with the Stormfalls, but Discordia comes along and wipes him out. Just for giggles then, we're seeing what Discordia would have done in terms of wrecking the Reckoner, and did it with 6 boxes to spare. Alright guys, well thanks, that's our first Warmachine video battle report. Many more to come hopefully, as well as some more detailed articles. If you've got anything to submit, just let me know. Comments and feedback appreciated, and hopefully we'll get some more with detailed analysis and tactics in for you next time.